This is CEMTV, reliable news and entertainment.
Headlines, trends, weather and travel getaways. It's Wake Up World on CEMTV.
It is a very good morning in the Federal Republic of Nigeria as the Federal Ministry of Education released a press release stating that the hike of the Waec and Neco fees will be suspended. So waking up on the right side of the bed is what every Nigerian deserves, and it is what every Nigerian has gotten. Good morning and welcome to the online trend segment of the CEMTV's Morning Pulse. I am Emmanuel Tamino Tenari, and of course I'm not doing it alone. I have the beautiful Vera Phillip, our very own weather oracle, with me in the studio. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Tammy. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. So how do you feel about finding out that the government listened to the cries of the people? Because we talked about this yesterday. We made remarks about it. Everyone spoke about it. It was on the lips of every single person, rich, poor, old and young. And it appears that the government heard everyone's complaints and decided to act upon it. How does that make you feel?
Good, really good. And I'm sure that every Nigerian feels the exact same way.
Exactly. I also feel really good.
Yeah. I mean, having to understand that, this is... because even there's no right thinking person in Nigeria that lives in Nigeria that faces what we're facing in Nigeria that would not consider that absurd. Do you get, like, how can we be raising amount of Waec and Neco fees? We're trying to look for a way where education will reach everyone and we're trying to increase the fees that we even have already. That's reducing the number of people who will even get access to education. So
exactly.
that the fact that has been suspended. Now, of course, another news is that it has been suspended, not that it's not going to be implemented. Yes,
exactly.
It's been suspended. It's not that, from what I understand, stakeholders are going to still have a meeting about it. At the end of the day, even if this increment should happen, it should be realistic. Not that amount. That's 82% increase. That's a lot for every Nigerian. Even for the average Nigerian, that is a lot of increase. And if that has to be done, they also have to be like a part of the money where the government or that state or federal government is responsible for paying, so that, students can also, or parents who are paying these fees can have it lesser on them. And I also understand the increment. As I said yesterday, I understand. I mean, everything has gone on the high side. The economy has also gone on the high side as well, including the fact that we're now conducting CBT, examinations.
Exactly.
There is what do we call it? There is the mock exams that happens now. In my time, we didn't write mock Waec. Mock was sponsored by the school. You just write mock in school. But now there's mock Waec and there is the main Waec, and all of that. And all of this takes so much time, so much regulating of teachers. Yes, I understand the increment, but it is a lot. And also, where is the help that we are helping in the education sector? Where is the points or things that we are putting in place to help the education sector? If we increase such amount of money to be paid for Waec and Neco, and we do not even help out, we do not take it easy on parents by even maybe starting off slow or supporting in any means. So this move by the federal government is really commendable. I love it.
And of course, if you have an X account, and you can check it for yourself, but of course, to make it easier for you, we'll give you some pictures of the press release taken from the Federal Ministry of Education's X account. So it was stated there that it will be suspended. Like I said, you can go to the social media platform of the Federal Ministry of Education and get it the full detail for yourself. And of course, as we've mentioned here, it is a suspension, not a complete shutdown of the idea entirely. Now, I understand where you're coming from, Vera, saying that, due to inflation and the cost of living and the cost of carrying out these examinations, the prices will increase. Now, if the price needs to increase, shouldn't the government in a way be able to subsidize it for the common man? Because we can't be aspiring for free education and then we not only have the highest number of out of school children, we have an attack on the educational system, and now we're having let's not even talk about the fact that sometime last year and and the like, when school fees rose tremendously, 200 as high as 200%, in certain universities. How can we aspire to saying we are looking forward to free education when we have these issues plaguing us, when we have the government saying that we really need to, you should understand how the cost of living, you should understand the cost of what's going on now. To run this thing is not easy, the cost is this and that. Are we the ones that impose the cost? We're not the ones that impose the cost. It's the government. If the economy is bad today, it's not because of the people made the economy bad. It's because of the laws that were put in place, because of the reforms that are being carried out. If some reforms need to be carried out, I believe measures should be put in place to cushion that effect. I can understand that I say, okay, the price needs to be increased, but if before you were paying 27,500 and now we need you to pay 50,000, let's say the government covers 25,000 for you, so instead of you paying the full 50,000, you can pay about 20 and an extra 30,000 or so, to make things easier for the people, instead of allowing the people to bear the full cost for themselves. We're already bearing the cost of our healthcare on our own, we're already bearing the cost of our education on our own, we're already bearing the cost of our everyday living on our own. In other climes, the government does that for them. So in as much as this is a good move, which of course even Peter Obi made a comment on his X account, and you can also go to his X account and view the entire post, but we will show you what we can here. And he commended the government for reaching out, but also addressed the seriousness of this issue, that the government raising the prices in a time like this when the people are suffering. Would we now say, oh, the government is suffering as well? Or the government, because of how things are hard, the people should somehow suck it up, grit their teeth and pay the price? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
While you're talking, I just remembered when you talked about fees, how fees, university
the fees skyrocketed.
That was like 2 years ago. And as we are paying attention to education, of course, Waec and Neco leads them to this tertiary institutions.
Exactly.
And tertiary institutions, they make or break, because a lot of people can always be like, I can't afford this, while others can be like, okay, let's see what we can do. Some people break their backs to be in universities, and having to see that the federal and state universities, where it looks like it's supposed to be the helping grace to Nigerian citizens that are maybe middle class or even unable to afford private universities, it is hard to see school fees skyrocket as well in that amount, and also see the struggling of the students and even parents as well. So as we are, trying to cushion whatever it is that's happening with the Waec and Neco fees, I do hope that the federal government also listens, just like Peter Obi said in his message on X, every other aspect needs the consideration as well. And if we are constantly talking about the education, or we are facing the education sector right now, we should look at everything. And I usually say that solving the problem of this country doesn't take much. It just takes solving them, or looking at every sector one after the other. And since we are here in the education sector, it's important that we try as much as we can to see how we can even, help in other areas like school fees, especially in federal universities. Federal universities are paying more than 100,000 naira for fees. How many Nigerians can afford 100,000 naira? Exactly. How many Nigerians can afford 50,000 naira? That the school fees is more than 100,000 naira. My younger sister is still in school, and I know how much much it is that we pay for fees for her. So it's very draining for some parents. Some parents need to break their back. Even some students need to break their own backs to, you know, get these fees and pay these fees. And there are also even policies in universities that don't even allow you to owe fees for that long, which I'm not going to. I also understand that there is, you know, the NEL fund as well for students, but how many of the students are able to have access?
You see, I don't even like bringing up the NEL fund, because what's the point of a loan when there's no avenue to pay it back?
Yeah, and outside that,
you can take a loan, you can create avenue for people to take a loan, but by the time they're done with the school, no jobs, they're unemployed, everything is frustrating them, the cost of living on its own is ready to kill them. But you know, that will be a topic for another day. That's the most we can take on the online trends this morning. I do hope you've been able to you've been informed, and of course you've learned a thing or two. Remember, the power is in your hands for you to choose your leader. 2027 is just around the corner. Do not sit aside, you know, vote for who you think is the right person and make your decision for the future of Nigeria. I am Emmanuel Tamanor Tenari, and of course, coming up next is the new surgery. Don't go anywhere.